My name is Anna Wingfield, and I'm an art educator at the Woodward School for Girls, and we are exhibiting works for grades 6 through 12 at the Thomas Crane Library for the month of January, with an opening reception on Wednesday, January 17th from 6 to 7 p.m. And the exhibit features works on paper in charcoal, pen and ink, also watercolor, acrylic, embroidery and fiber arts will also be on display, lots and lots of portraiture to really show the community who our girls are, and also a few sculptures will be scattered in as well. The school has been exhibiting works at the Thomas Crane Library for around 5 years, maybe 6, and always with grades 6 through 12 with a selection of works spanning across the entire school. We've gotten great feedback from the community. We have a guest book that people sign, and that is always full of positive feedback, but I've also had people contact me at the school. I've had people drop off supplies that they've realized they had fabric at home, and then we use that fabric, or paints that they bought for a class and are no longer using and saw how dedicated our girls are, and they want to help and donate. We have a great art program, but donations, of course, are always appreciated because they show that the community is looking and seeing how prominent our art program is, and they're wanting to be a part of that in any way that they can. The visual arts is really important at the Woodward School because we have a beautiful art studio space that the girls work in that is in an old church building that also houses the performing arts. And within that space, we have a printing press where the girls can enroll in printmaking classes. They can also participate in sculpture classes. We have AP art, AP studio art, and AP drawing, and along with advanced art courses and portfolio courses for students who are preparing to apply for art school at the college level. I teach art in grades 6 through 12 where they have class almost every day. So the Woodward School art program differs from many other schools in that art is seen as important as other academics. It is not necessarily just supporting math and science, but rather it's held up on its own merit as being a very important coursework where you're learning critical thinking skills and learning to explore your individuality through visual art. So the Thomas Crane Library Show is a really important show for us in the year, but it's only a small grouping of the works that are created. Because of the space, I pull pieces from a few grades here and there just to represent kind of what we have at Woodward. But the biggest show of the year is the Night of the Arts, and that is on, I believe it's April 25th this year. It's the Wednesday after our April vacation, which is how I remember, because we're working hard over April vacation to set up the show, and I usually have many girls from our National Art Honor Society with me to install and curate the night. But it is an art show that's held at the school where we will have hundreds of works of art on display. Every student has a piece of art in the show. Rather, every student has anywhere from 2 to 6 pieces of art in the show. We also have our National Art Honor Society induction ceremony that night. And beyond that, the students also exhibit in the Quincy Arts Association Arts Fest every year. This year we are pairing with the Quincy Arts Association, and we are creating an 8-foot by 4-foot mural inspired by a children's book illustrator, and that will be revealed, I believe, at the following 2018 Fall Quincy Arts Fest. So yeah, we have lots of opportunities for the girls to exhibit their talents, and just different shows for them to kind of work towards. I think that I would like for visitors that see the show at the Thomas Crane Library to gain an understanding of how dedicated and thoughtful a Woodward girl is, and be able to see that through the detail in their artwork, but also I believe as their art teacher, I know how much time they put into their work, but I believe it's really evident with the quality of work that they create that they are serious about what they're doing and that they put their whole selves into it. And I want anybody who sees the things that they make to understand that.
My name is Zoe Strassel, and I go to the Woodward School, and I'm enrolled in advanced art. At the library, the art I will have on exhibit is 2 embroidery pieces that I made in class and outside of school because they took a very long time. And they're both focused on the theme of identity, which is the main focus of all of my art. I chose to embroider 2 of my good friends, and the parts that are filled in represent their focuses on their identity and what makes them so unique. So for example, the girl with the blue hair, her identity is about how she changes her hair color and how she expresses herself through fashion and in that sense. The girl who in the Irish step dancing dress, well, that gives it away. She is an Irish step dancer, and that is a main focus of her identity. When making my pieces, I always start by drawing everything out in a sketchbook first, and then I just do simple line drawings. I never do any of the details until I'm actually embroidering. So then I will use a light box to transfer my designs from the paper onto the fabric, and then I will trace them with different colors of string, and then I eventually fill them in based on what I like the most about the piece as it is. So it's mostly improvised. I've embroidered since I was a very young age, and I think I've made over 100 pieces over the course of 13 years. And obviously they've gotten better with time, but I chose embroidery because there's something satisfying about being able to pick up the needle and do each individual line, each individual stitch. And if you mess up, you just go with it, because it's very hard to take back what you messed up. In advanced art, we make a variety of pieces. Some people make only a few, some people make a bunch. I chose my focus as identity because I mostly do portraiture, and I felt like identity and portraiture go hand in hand, so that's why I chose that. I've made about 6 pieces so far this year, and I started with embroidery and I made about 4 embroidery pieces, but then now I'm doing a focus with masks, and I'm using acrylic paint, which is something that I'm normally not comfortable with. Woodward has given me the opportunity over the past 7 years to not only grow as an artist, but to try different things and to step out of my comfort zone. So as I said, I wasn't normally comfortable with acrylic paint. It was mostly just embroidery and pencils. But over my time at the school, I've been able to try all different kinds of art, like sculpture, paints, all different kinds of paints, oil paints, acrylic paints, watercolors, you name it, I've probably tried it at some point. And I'm very grateful for that because not every school gives that opportunity like Woodward has given to me.
My name is Jia Yan. I go to Woodward School for Girls, and I am currently a junior, and I studied AP Art. I studied AP Studio Art, which required 24 pieces, and 12 pieces should be focused on one big theme, and the other 12 should be focused on brides, like you should draw different kind of artwork to show that you are, for example, you can draw water painting and oil painting to show that you are a good artist. And for me, I'm currently working on my big concentration theme, which is verbal abuse. And I mostly use charcoal for it, and this is my 3rd piece I have been making. When I was young, I was a victim of verbal abuse. And due to this experience, I have several diseases. I have a lot of bad diseases like depression, but right now I get over it. And what I'm doing right now is that I want to express my sorrow and my sadness through my artwork, and to tell people that everyone is beautiful and everyone is unique. Never judge people based on their appearance, but to look into their heart. I'm going to have this charcoal painting on the exhibit, and I drew it mostly using charcoal and also pen. And on the left side, I draw the comments that people used to give me, which is some of them are verbal abuse. And on the right side is what I think toward other people's comments. As you can see from the top of the page, it's when I was a child, and the bottom is like when I grow up. So you can see the process that I lost my innocence through receiving people's comments. I don't have a name for her. Well, she's not based on a real person. It's just she just represents female. Last year when I was a sophomore, I was thinking to take some AP classes because I think I have the passion into art. So I found Miss Winfield and asked her if I have the special permission to go to advanced art, and she said yes. And after that, I asked her if I can take AP class, and she was, and so it's the first year that the school ever gave AP class, but Miss Winfield agreed with me, and she provided all her efforts to me, and she really supported me in every way. And whenever I need some supplies, she will order it online. And she also shows us a lot of like portfolio samples of AP portfolio to give us idea and inspirations, which is really nice. And I think there are currently 2 people work in AP classes, and I am working on AP studio art, and she's working on AP painting art. But I think both of us are in a really good process because of the support Ms. Winfield gave.
My name is Jane Gay, and I am enrolled in the advanced art class at Woodward. I am in advanced art because I'm applying to art school, so I want to pursue it as a career. I can't see myself doing anything other than art, and being part of advanced art at Woodward has been really amazing because it has given me this opportunity to really work on something that I've been wanting to for a long time. The artwork that I will be displaying is the front cover and the first page of a 12-page comic I created, and I included it in all of my college submissions. I am applying for a cartooning major, which revolves around making comics, because I want to be a comic book artist. I have a passion for this and I really love it. So I made a 12-page comic about a girl who has 4 arms, and she realizes that she's sort of a monster in society's eyes and can't participate in normal societal activities, and realizes that the ones she loved may never accept her, and that she's sort of alone. And it's I intend to make a second issue and many more issues after that, and it's going to be about like diversity and acceptance and interacting with the modern day world. My process for drawing these comics takes quite a while. I start usually by writing what I want to happen in the comic issue. I write out a dialogue, and then I make thumbnails or storyboards for each page. I sort of design where I want things to be, what the character should be saying, and then I go on to my final paper and I lightly sketch out everything, all of the art, the panels, the dialogue. After that, once I've finished sketching all of the pages, I go and I take my ink and I do all of the panels, the borders, the dialogue first, the numbers, page numbers, and then I add all of the characters, the background, and I add color and the last finishing touches. This usually the whole process takes maybe 2 to 3 weeks for each issue. I got the idea for this character. I was walking home from school one day in 9th grade, and I was just listening to music, and I had this idea of a 4-armed guitarist in my head, and it sort of just run away from that. It started there and it's expanded over the years, and I've been drawing her for years now. She's sort of my main focus in art at the moment. In every issue I intend to change the costume because that's fun. It's fun to design these different outfits. And you know, when you're watching cartoons, it seems like the cartoon character is always wearing the same outfit. And yeah, that's easier to do, but where's the fun in that? It's so much fun to make these cool outfits that look like weird, unconventional. So what I do is I do a character design page for each issue in which I sort of map out the outfit, I like change the hair and all sorts of different things, and I put down the colors I use so that it's a reference sheet, so that when I'm going and actually putting down the sketch of the comic on the final paper, I can use that so I can get all the details. What I want people to get out from these two pieces is that this world is strange. It's unconventional, but it's fun, and that's the best part, is that things happen, and there doesn't need to be a justification for everything. That things can be different and strange and unusual just because, just like people. People don't need to justify their identities to other people. They can just be who they want. And so I'm trying to sort of convey that in my art, is that things are weird, but there's no need to justify it. Things just happen to be that way, and sometimes that's really fun.